The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nicole Hennessy, Vice President of the Music Business Association. Hope you're all doing well today. Welcome to the Common Ground webinar series. It's a series that we've been doing now for about 10 years, and I will tell you that I believe this fall lineup has been the most packed, most informative that we've had in a long time. Some really great companies, and we'll be rounding out this fall series here in a couple weeks, and then announcing the lineup for the first half of 2020. So some more exciting companies to come in 2020 as well. But I'll keep you in suspense and not share this with you because I definitely like to put all those out all at one time and everybody get excited about them. But thank you for being here today. Before I turn it over to Jeff at Live Music Loyalty, I just want to talk a little bit about some happenings here at Music Biz. If you haven't already, mark your calendars for the annual event. That's May 11th through the 14th in Nashville at the JW Marriott. That's our flagship event, bringing together over 2,500 music industry professionals from across the globe for what many call, the 4 most productive days of the music business calendar. It's really a time where there's lots of meetings, lots of deals, lots of talk about the issues in the industry and how we can solve the problems and make a better and brighter future for the music marketplace. So a great couple days. Our call for presentations is ongoing now with submission deadline on December 2nd. The program for the annual conference is heavily community driven and community sourced, where we ask our members and the industry at large to tell us, what they want to talk about, what topics that they want to hear, and put those forth on our call for presentation. So if you visit musicbiz2020.com, you'll find more information about the annual conference and also that link to the guidelines and submission form for the call for presentations. And again, remember, deadline for those submissions is December 2nd. The other event that we're working on is Nylon Connect 2020. That will take place at the Dream Hotel in downtown New York City, January 16th and 17th. It is a high-level business development summit, about 200 attendees. Really diving into and charting the course for the remainder of the year. What are the issues? How are we going to solve them? We just announced that Kevin Liles from 300 Entertainment will be the keynote for the label track. We also have a global streaming track that will be keynoted by Cecilia Quist at Spotify. We're going to be honing in on the China, Korea, and Russian and Eastern European music markets. We have Sun Lee from YouTube, who will be keynoting that track. We have a startup track that will be keynoted by Scott Cohen of Warner Music Group. There's also a publishing track, so 5 tracks of discussions over the 2 days. And we announced just recently that the finale for the event will be a keynote conversation with Troy Carter, founder of Q&A. So great 2 days of discussions on the future of the music business. So you can check that out at nylonconnect.com. So lots to think about. Upcoming webinars, Nylon, Music Biz 2020. So mark your calendars for all of those things. Just go to musicbiz.org, the events tab. All of those events are there. And for those of you that our members, lots of other great resources at musicbiz.org in our education section, keeping up with the news of the industry and research and those sort of things. So please do check out the website for some great year-round association benefits. So with all that said, I'm going to put myself on mute. I'm going to turn it over to Jeff from Live Music Loyalty today. He's going to talk about how you can best connect with your most important customer, and those are your concert attendees. So Jeff, welcome today to the Music Biz Common Ground webinar series. Great to have you. Looking forward to listening in on the presentation. All of those in attendance. If you want to communicate with Jeff, there's a questions box on your screen. Type your questions into that box. Jeff will be compiling those questions and hosting a Q&A at the end. But do feel free throughout the presentation, if a question pops into your mind, to put it in that questions box so Jeff has it there to answer at the presentation. So I'm going on mute, and Jeff, I'm turning the floor over to you.
Thanks, Nicole, and thanks MusicBiz for hosting these webinars. I certainly have gained some valuable insight by watching them myself, and hopefully I'll be able to provide some useful information to everyone today. So just a little background on myself. My name is Jeff Warshauer. I'm the founder of Live Music Loyalty. I have a background as an analyst studying businesses and industries. I work a lot with data and analytics, and also have some experience with governance. And what that really is creating systems of rules to help generate desired outcomes. Also, I'm a huge live music fan. I've been following Phish since I was 15, and I go see lots of live music. So in total, I think that just provides a unique perspective on what's going on in the industry and how we can help artists. So here's the agenda we're going to be going over during the presentation. I'll give you a little overview of the Live Music Loyalty mobile application, discuss some of the challenges that the music industry faces. We're going to introduce a concept that I call ephemeral to evergreen, and then how Live Music Loyalty helps close the gaps and address the challenges that the music industry faces. Then we'll discuss the summer promotion that we worked on with a number of artists in the Asbury Park area. And then we'll get into future development and then exploring opportunities with one another. So very high level, this is a screenshot of the Live Music Loyalty app, one of the pages. But it's a native mobile application, and it's a fan-centric mobile app. So what that means is fans download the app from the App Store or Google Play, and it's really for their enjoyment, right? We're in beta, and what that means from the artist perspective is that Live Music Loyalty manages all the artist profiles, but the app as a fan-centric app, fans can download, sign up, and start personalizing their live music experiences. So over on the right, you can see, some of the core value propositions that we offer to fans, and those are, some of the key marketing terms that we use in promoting it on our swag during the promotion. We want fans to easily be able to discover events. We want them to be able to connect with the artists and feel closer to artists. We want them to be able to share their live music experiences as well as collect them. So on the left is the value proposition that we're providing artists, and that really boils down to helping artists connect with their core audience. So at the end of the promotion, we have connected over 240 fans to over 1,100 artists at over 1,300 concerts. So briefly here, just wanted to, bring up some of the key objectives of the platform and what Live Music Loyalty is focusing on doing. So we want artists to know who their fans are. This was the first problem I tried to solve in building the platform, and we'll definitely explore this in greater detail throughout the presentation. The second key objective is grow your audience. And I knew this was a problem, as I started Live Music Loyalty. but I didn't really understand it well enough until I started working with the artists in Asbury Park. And I think now going forward, we have a better understanding of how we can leverage the platform to help independent emerging artists grow their audience. And what these two key objectives really help artists achieve is one primary objective, and that's to have a sustainable career in music. Not every artist's goals are the same, but for the purposes that we've identified, we're targeting these objectives here. So I just wanted to talk briefly about the attention economy. And this is really a broader challenge that everyone is up against, right? So Netflix calls their biggest competitor sleep. People are on their phones constantly, and everyone is fighting for the attention of consumers. Mark Mulligan of Medea came out with a piece saying that we have reached peak attention. So, and some of the research, and you can see at the bottom of the slide here, it says the average consumer spends 31 hours per week on digital entertainment, and that boils down to 4.5 hours per day. So, what this really means in the broader context is, there are huge platforms out there that have extensive reach, and those platforms are targeting deep pockets. And for the independent emerging artists, that really creates an unfair game. So what can we do about this? From my perspective is, we really need to play on a different field. So digging into a little more on the attention economy, the existing platforms, and how we're differentiating live music loyalty to help artists, we really need to discuss, some of the basic tenets of the platforms within the attention economy. And a lot of these are existing advertising-based models, right? Where, you have Instagram, Facebook, all these platforms that are competing for users' attention, and what that really boils down to is their time, right? They're looking for people to spend more time on their screens so that they can advertise to those users. And juxtapose that with what we are building, not as an advertising-based model, but with a subscription-based model is, we're not focused on people's time. We're really focused on people's behavior. And what that means is, all we really want to know at this stage is, do you go to live music events, right? So we're trying to identify who attends events and then leverage that as a foundation to help artists. So whereas on the ad-based models, artists are disadvantaged because they need to pay to promote themselves, on what would be the live music subscription-based model focused on behavior, artists really just need to play to promote themselves. They need to be playing gigs, and they need to be getting people out to their shows. So that's largely what we are focused on. And a lot of that, goes back to knowing your fan and growing your audience. So again, just talking more about some secular trends across the broader industry. Really we could spend hours talking about this slide, and there's a lot of really good articles out there that discuss in depth, these issues. But when I was, building live music loyalty, I noticed these three in particular that I thought it was important that we place live music loyalty in the middle of. So, clearly touring versus recording, right? Artists are making most of their money on the road touring. Statistics vary, but approximately 80% of artist income is earned through live music. Experiences versus things, right? Fans are going to shows and they're not buying records anymore. And this experience versus things applies more broadly across the consumer landscape, but specifically that's how we're looking at it within the industry. And then access versus ownership, right? I think that the struggle here is that fans disassociate the music from the artist, and that's a real problem for the artists. And as we continue to transition into the voice interface future, this is only going to exacerbate the problem of connecting art to the artists. So moving on, in addition to those three secular trends that I thought were important to build the platform around, one thing that I identified a huge gap in the live music industry is that no one actually knows who attends events. And so this was really the first problem I tried to solve for, and we'll go into greater detail in a little bit about that. So I think this refers back to knowing your fans, knowing who your fans are, and directly addresses the concern of access versus ownership, right? So I wrote an article, it was called "Fans Own Their Experiences, They Don't Access Them." And I think that speaks to the fundamental difference between live and recorded is, nothing I see can be taken from me. I attend these events, I own these experiences, and it's not possible for the artist to be disassociated from the art in that context. So the article, kind of goes into a little detail on how live music loyalty is focused on fans collecting experiences. And as we continue through the presentation, you'll get a better understanding of that, how we're building that into the platform. So in looking to solve this who is a live music consumer problem, I'm going to rewind back a little bit to how I came up with the idea for live music loyalty in the first place. So like many people probably on this call and in the industry, we go to shows and we collect concert tickets, and I was putting all of my concert tickets into a scrapbook when I noticed that the photos I took at a concert knew exactly where they were taken. So I was like, oh, it's pretty cool if there were an app that could do this for me, right? So use my concert photos to create a digital scrapbook of the concerts I attended. So that was the beginning of the idea that connects to helping artists know who their fans are, and really was the first feature set that I built out in the platform, and continue to build out feature sets that go back to solving for that initial problem, knowing who your fans are. So you can see a lot of Fish tickets in there. You can see Bader Field at the top in 2012. Just want to highlight that because we'll come back to that in a little bit. So just discussing a little about the event life cycle and kind of how I view it from a fan perspective. And I think it's highly fragmented, right? So if we dissect the life cycle into three distinct parts, there's the before the show, which is concert discovery, right? So bands in town, Songkick have great concert discovery platforms, Facebook events, people find lots of shows that they can go to on Facebook, even Instagram. A lot of these emerging artists in Asbury Park post all their upcoming gigs on Instagram. So there's a lot of good platforms out there that address this concern. They often speak to the fact that 40% of all tickets go unsold. So solving the concert discovery problem has been their main focus, right? So for live music loyalty, we've been primarily focusing on the during and the after. So what do people do during an event? On Instagram and Snapchat, it's the ephemeral experience where they're sharing it to their stories and sharing it with their friends. And then in terms on the after, there are fans sharing pictures and videos of concerts on Instagram and Facebook with everyone. So these behaviors on the social platforms exist, but it's highly fragmented. So I think this is problematic, and it's from a fan perspective, it doesn't really provide a complete experience for fans, where it goes from event discovery, experiencing the event, and then all of the typical behaviors of sharing your experiences with your friends after the fact. So as I mentioned, we're primarily focused on how we can work on the during and after within the event life cycle. So, but that's not to discount the before, because that's extremely important as well. So what we're doing is focusing on creating one contiguous experience for fans, where we have the event discovery. We're making it easy for them to find out everything that's going on. We're focusing on creating contextual digital experiences that are connected to the event themselves, and we're making it seamless between how fans experience the events and what they do, in terms of behaviors and sharing photos after. And what that does, I think, by creating one contiguous experience, is that it really allows for a high degree of personalization, right? I don't think platforms can really achieve a level of personalization unless all three portions of the event life cycle are connected. So, when they are, I think we see that it creates a virtuous cycle of improving the personalization itself, where we recommend events for people to go to. We get them to check into events. They share their memories. They find new artists that were playing there. We recommend those, and it just creates a virtuous cycle and improving the personalization of the platform. So we're going to transition from focusing on the event life cycle here into the concept that I came up with, called ephemeral into evergreen. And we've been developing this platform for a couple of years, and continuously try to articulate the value proposition to artists and what we're focusing on, and how we can leverage the platform to provide focus on the going back to knowing your customers and growing your audience, right? So what this really is creating an evergreen asset within the platform from the ephemeral experience. So we go to these shows, here I was at the Wonder Bar. I went to this event. and we can create, expand on these experiences digitally. So how do we do that? And this goes back to focusing on the photo metadata, is if a fan takes a picture at an event, we can geofence this event and we can verify their attendance. So why is this important? So as I mentioned, there's an event life cycle where, artists are on tour and they're passing through a city, and fans are, going throughout the week, and they attend certain events, and we come together and we go to shows and we have these great experiences. But after they're over, everyone kind of goes on their way, right? So, we go to the show, the fan continues on, and the artist continues on to the next city. And there was a brief moment in time where the artist and the fan were able to connect. So for everything to work out, where these artists can, grow their fan bases, if they say, oh, you can follow us on Spotify or Instagram, that artist needs to remain top of mind for that fan for a period of time, right? Or if the artist was trying to sell merch to the fan, the fan has to go over to the merch table. The artist needs to be there, and they need to transact, right? So regardless of what your goals are at an event and what you're trying to convey to the fan, it only can happen during, this brief time period of the show. So what we can do is, by geofencing events, we're creating this evergreen digital asset that can link artists and fans. So prior to the event, we have fans going one way and artists coming another way, and we create an evergreen asset by geofencing. And what we can do is match fan photo metadata to a geofenced event to create a connection that could theoretically exist in perpetuity. So when I alluded to that ticket of Fish at Bader Field in 2020, when I was creating the platform and putting concerts into the database, that was the first concert, the oldest concert I got checked into. So the platform verified my attendance at that show 6 years later. And that's the concept that, I think is super important, is that, if we're at an event for 3 hours, all these things need to go right and take place. It's really hard for, people to connect and artists to connect with fans, and really for fans to grow, to know and grow their audience. So what this does, by creating this evergreen asset in terms of what your show becomes, is, one, when fans check into an event, we know who they are because we can use photo metadata to verify who they are and that they attended the event. And that once we geofence an event, it exists in our database for forever, and then it gives the opportunity in the future for fans to retroactively connect to that event in the past. So what that means is that as we geofence events for artists, that over time, every event that is geofenced the potential to reach fans over time increases. So, what we have here is just, a bunch of different geofenced events, and that over time you can see, oh, here we connected another artist to this event, sometime down the future. So I think it extends the opportunity for artists and fans to connect. And I think that's super important. And I think that's something that we continue to focus on and need to educate, artists on the opportunity for expanding the potential to connect and grow their audience. So now, how do we address the before, during, and after within the app itself? We'll go into a little more detail here of how we do that. So as I discussed, the app itself is very location based. So we, originally focused on photo metadata and understanding the location that people took their photos. And I think, we built out discovery, and you can see some of the screenshots here that, you can search for, what's going on this week or this month at a certain radius around wherever you are, and try to make it intuitive and super easy for fans in the local community to find everything that's going on. You see the favorites tab up there next to where it says 25 miles, and that's a little bit of the personalization that we add to the discovery before events, where if you sync your Spotify account or you had previously checked into an event, those artists become your favorite in the platform, and you can filter all upcoming events by your favorites, so it only shows you what, as a fan, what you may be interested in. And then you would, find an event you might be interested in. Indie Binge, this was a show I went to this past weekend and helped promote with, a ton of local artists. It makes it interesting where you can select on event, and find more about the artists playing at that event. So, it's who are the Mercury Brothers? You can click on the Mercury Brothers artist profile, and up comes Mercury Brothers artist profile, giving links to their Spotify, their Instagram, Apple Music, all that stuff. And from the artist's perspective, it's extremely beneficial to them to have this information at the fans' fingertips to make it easy to find out who they are. Because, if their Instagram tag is, _ Mercury band NJ or whatever, it's hard to communicate that with fans at events. So it just makes it extremely important here, and easy for fans to become followers and learn more about the artists. So more on the before events. So we created this, what I call a concert poster. So if you select this share icon in an event page, that will create this asset where artists themselves can use it to promote on social media, fans can use it to promote on social media and connect. And it's just a way for artists and fans to integrate other platforms into Live Music Loyalty to help promote themselves and their shows. So as in terms of what we've built out during the events and helping fans have, it's really a real-time extension of the experience, and we're providing, additional context to the event, right? So it's almost like a Shazam for live music, where, who's this band playing? For Indie Binge, there were 30 artists playing. Like, how do you know everyone that's going on? It's like, we have, in the details page of the event page, you know, we have artist profiles for 30 different ones. So just to talk a little bit here about checking into events and how that is from a fan experience. You know, in the yellow, you can see I circled attended, and when fans check in and have attended events, it creates a private gallery in the app for them. So a lot of the focus and feedback I've received from fans in the community is, oh, like you're using our photos and metadata to check us into events. You know, from the very beginning, the platform has been very oriented around privacy, right? So when we check people into events, everything goes into a private gallery. So you can see that the circle links out to a private gallery. You can see thumbnails of all those pictures I took. And then from there, you can share pictures to a public event page. And then, you know, people can share photos and videos and enjoy everything that's gone on around that event. And then once the event has started, the event page transitions from saving and sharing upcoming events to collecting media and having details around those events. So in the details page, in addition to being able to link to all the artists that are playing, you know, you can get details on the timing of when artists come or anything else really around that event. So for all of the Fish concerts, we put in, you know, all of the set lists, and that can really be customized by the artists. So how do we help, you know, make one contiguous experience from the fan perspective? And I think that really goes to what do we do with the photos and videos that we take at concerts? And, you know, we want to share them with our friends. So we created this popular feed, which basically provides, you know, all of the events that fans have shared content to. So it provides another avenue of discovery, another way for, you know, these independent emerging artists to be found by people in the community and using the platform. So in the popular page, you can scroll down continuously to see all of the events that people have shared photos and videos to. If you're interested in, you know, clicking on one, you say, oh, there's the Waiting on Mongo show from Friday. Oh, cool. I want to see what was going on there. And you can click into it. You can check out the media from the event. And you can see Anders there. You know, you can watch the video of him ripping a sax solo. Or you can sit, you know, see, oh, like Dogs in the Pile, I've heard of them. Oh, I don't know who the Wax Caps are. So you could click on the Wax Caps artist profile, open it up, link to their Spotify, link to their Bandcamp page, learn a little more about them, so on and so forth. So now I want to shift gears here a little bit to kind of explain more of the attention span, so to speak, of a fan, and why that's a challenge and how the platform is looking to address that. So what this chart here shows is on the vertical axis, we're looking at how artists gain new followers. So this is net new followers, and these are Instagram numbers. So, and then on the horizontal axis, you can see how this artist has gained new Instagram followers over time. So we use Instagram followers as a proxy kind of for who their fans are. It's not perfect, but it's a decent indication of how artists, you know, can potentially grow their audience. So you can see the two bars here are two shows that this one band played, and that, you know, leading up to their events, they were kind of gaining a handful of followers a day, and then around their events, you know, that spikes, right? So the show they played on August 6th, they gained, you know, 20 new followers on Instagram, and the next show they gained the same. But immediately following the events, you know, it's kind of back to that level of, you know, a couple a day. And so we have a few charts to kind of demonstrate different behaviors in which fans can, artists can gain new fans and followers. So here's another one. On the vertical axis, we're still looking at Instagram followers. On August 8th, they played a show, and you can see that leading up to the event, they did not really, you know, gain a couple followers here, not so much at the event, but, you know, a few days following the event, you know, one of the support artists spiked and gained 25 new Instagram followers. And the headliner, you know, had a few days of gaining, you know, more than 20 followers. And then it kind of goes back down again. So that's kind of talking to, you know, how do artists stay at the top of mind of fans? And that's really due to the fact that they only have this, you know, a specific attention time. They're only connecting either with the fans during the event, or thinking about, or the fans are only connecting with the artist at the event, or thinking about the artist for a brief period of time post-event. Here is an artist that, again, vertical access, Instagram, new Instagram ads, and these, this is a tour, right? So we're looking over about a 1 month period here where they played a bunch of events, and this is where the artist was supporting another act, and they did a national tour here. So you can see that they kind of bounce around, adding 1 or 2 followers leading up to the tour, and then on any given night of the tour, they gained, you know, 3, 4, 5 or more followers if they were able to successfully connect, you know, with those fans at those shows. This chart here is showing similar behavior regarding new followers around their shows, but this particular instance is a local artist that is playing local shows. So, you know, you don't really necessarily see the spike in followers around specific shows because, you know, more likely than not, they're kind of playing to the same fans. So, and that goes to the point of, you know, it's important to expose yourself to new fan bases and get out and tour. The spike for the show at the end of this graph is interesting because they were playing to a new fan base, but it was the Asbury Park Oyster Fest. So they were playing to a different fan base with a lot of artists on the bill. So they're exposing themselves to fans who maybe did not know who they were before. So those were, you know, kind of the event life cycle on how artists gain fans on existing platforms, and trying to tie it back to, you know, creating the evergreen, the potential of the evergreen asset for artists. Here is how that would be applied through the live music loyalty lens. So you can see here there was a show, and this was the Flaming Lips concert at the Stone Pony this summer. You can see there was it took place at the end of July. The purple graph shows how many times a unique fan visited that event page, the potential to follow these artists and discover them. You can see that if you checked it out before the show, a bunch of people checked into the event and linked out to the page following the event for a week, a couple weeks. But what's interesting here is that, you know, if you look a month later, if you look 2 months later, and 3 months later, that there are fans that are connecting back to this event, checking into this show, and potentially discovering new artists, and connecting with artists that they went to see long after the event, right? So it's leveraging the potential for artists to know who their fans are well after the event and grow their audience well after the event as well. And I circled the Experiment 34 artists here. They're a local band, and they were playing support on this gig. And I think it's pretty cool what Stone Pony does. In some cases, they give local artists the opportunity to play on the inside stage during summer stage outside. So the opportunity for support acts to connect with the fan bases of the headliner, there's tremendous opportunity for artists to leverage that here. So in the instance where Experiment 34 had, you know, they might have 700, 800 Instagram followers, they're playing to an audience of somewhere around, you know, over 2,000 people. So the opportunity for them to be discovered by that fan base is tremendous. And it's what we're trying to do is capitalize on that opportunity by making it easier for the fans to discover who they are in the platform. So, you know, we continue to talk about knowing the fan base, you know, helping artists know who their fans are. But there are, you know, a myriad of ways for artists to, you know, grow their audience as well, right? So we have this, what we call a leaderboard that shows all of the artists for the fans that have checked into their events. So it helps surfaces the artists that, you know, bring an audience to their shows. And it's a good way for a community of artists and fans to, you know, support the local scene, right? So if if a fan is going down the leaderboard and looking to discover new artists, they can say, oh, here's Cranston Dean, he's popular in the area. Easily link out to Cranston's profile, see all of his links, see all of his upcoming shows, and really connect with Cranston, right? You can, if you listen to him on Spotify, you can immediately become a follower in the LML app, and now now he has a new fan, right? So another instance of this where I think the leaderboard is helpful is not just connecting with fans, but connecting with industry professionals, right? So I've had a number of people come to me looking for, kind of who's hot in the scene. And I can immediately direct them to the leaderboard and say, hey, here is a list of all of the artists that play in the area, and here are the people that have checked into events. And, to some extent, the attendees list do represent, popularity of some of these artists. So it's a good opportunity for artists to get discovered, not just by fans, but by the broader industry as well. And that was specific to a label. I've also seen, venues in the area looking to add local support to some touring acts, and they say, hey, where can we find a bunch of local artists to add to these gigs? Here's a perfect place for them to do that. So I did also want to talk briefly about, helping artists grow their audience in terms of discovery. And, I do a lot of research, and I know that there are a lot of these A&R algorithms out there, and I use chart metrics to aggregate a lot of the information I use in these charts and learn about the artists. And I think from a broader perspective, you just expand out the lens, whereas we were helping local artists get discovered locally. What we can also do is help artists get discovered by the broader industry, and that feeds into these A&R algorithms, right? So just this one in particular, looking at these 9 platforms, it's no coincidence that the majority of these platforms are the links that are listed in the artist profile. So, we're trying to not just have local fans connect with the artists on those other platforms and become followers there, but it feeds into the system of, who and how the industry more broadly is, looking to discover new talent. So touching now, transitioning to the summer promotion, you can see here, this was one of the postcards that we were distributing around town, trying to generate, brand awareness for the platform itself and the value propositions that it can provide fans, and, helping them find all of the local music around town, helping them connect with the artists and all of those sorts of things. So we brought in 35 local artists to participate in the promotion. We worked with 2 free summer concert series in Jams on the Sand and Asbury Park Live. With the artists, we did merch and ticket giveaways, to help create a connection and a bond between artists and their fans, and help grow their audience. And ultimately, we're actually hosting a show this weekend with a number of the artists that participated in the promotion. So here on the left, you can see Jams on the Sand and Asbury Park Live were a couple of the 2 free summer concert series. An interesting takeaway just of working throughout the summer was, we can create profiles for brands and concert promoters, right, to help build email lists for their own brands. So what we do when fans check into events, we did some testing around retargeting emails and stuff like that. So when someone checks into an event, we know who they are and we can communicate with them after the fact. So we did a handful of retargeting emails, and I think our list has something around 40% in open rates, and it's a small sample size. So but we're gaining interesting insights into how engaged these fans are and what their interests are and how they connect across different artists and different types of events. So this is a poster for the show we're having this weekend, and I think when we talk about location, and that's a large focus of what we're doing, and it's really about community, right? So we're helping local artists in the community be supported by fans in the community to help them get discovered. So that's kind of the virtuous cycle we're we're working on here. And, for this event, we have local artists design a poster. We have local businesses sponsoring the event. We're working closely with the Asbury Park Music Foundation as well to, help support local artists. And hopefully this weekend we'll be able to raise, some money to contribute to them and youth music education that they contribute to the community as well. So just in terms of future development and what we're looking to do with the platform is really move it out of beta. So what that means is we're going to open the platform and we're going to allow artists and stakeholders to manage their own profiles and create events in the system. And I think that's going to enable other opportunities for communities around the country to, promote their local scenes. And these are all free features, right? So we're going to be looking to improve flows within the app to optimize for artists to know and grow their fan bases. And then, as I mentioned earlier, that, we're not an ad based platform, and that's a subscription based model, and why that's important. So we'll be rolling out premium features to artists. And I think the first and most important one of those is going to be an artist email list. So what that is essentially a one-click option for fans to opt in to an artist email list. So think of it as a clipboard on a merch table where a fan would have to go over and sign up for that. We make it extremely easy for fans to do that, not just at an event, but by leveraging the evergreen opportunity to become to join an artist email list at any time. And then in terms of building out artist community networks for them to grow their audience, right? So I think, what we've seen as a challenge for artists in the Asbury Park community is, they're able to grow their fan bases locally, but how can they grow their fan bases beyond just the community? And I think it's important to provide solutions for them to connect with artists in other communities where they can, share their fan base and say, oh, we are connecting with this artist from Asbury Park, build interesting bills around live events to expose their own audiences to additional artists, and that's a good way for them to grow their fan base. So going forward, we're continuing to look into opportunities to work with people interested in what we're building. We're open to strategic partnerships, technology partnerships, promotional partnerships, and certainly equity partnerships as well. So with that, I'll open it up to questions. I know we've been aggregating them, and thank you for your time. I appreciate your interest in what we're doing, and we're just getting started here, and we think that there's a really good opportunity to contribute and help the independent emerging artist community.
Greg, thank you for this insightful presentation. Anybody who has questions, they can go into the questions box on your screen and they'll get right to Greg. So far, they've been a pretty quiet group, Greg. I'm sorry, Jeff. So you must have covered it in good detail. Here's one that just came in from Kim. You see that there on your screen, Jeff?
I do. So Kim's asking, can you talk about the loyalty points part of the platform? So sure, I can do that. Thanks, Kim, for the question. so when we were designing the platform, you know, the name implies as live music loyalty. It was built to develop loyalty programs for artists for their fans. So we don't necessarily have points assigned to events. That was a consideration. Right now, what we're doing is just aggregating attendance and using that to promote the artists who get fans out to their shows. So there's not specifically points assigned to that. What artists can do is when they know the people that come to their shows, they can reward them any which way they see fit. So, you know, for the promotion, if a fan saved an upcoming event, that would enter them into a pool to win tickets to that event. Or if a fan checked into an event, the artist could randomly choose someone that checked into their event and, you know, send them a t-shirt, right? Say, thanks for coming to the show. Hope to see you at the next one. You know, look forward to seeing you in the future. So there aren't really necessarily points right now, but there are rewards associated with saving and attending events. Okay, I see another one here. Great job and love the fish references. Thank you. So, I had another one I wanted to mention. There was, it's not an experience if you can't bring someone along. So, you know, we're looking for lots of people to partner with on this, and you know, thanks for the positive feedback. Here's another question. So if I download the app today, it will scan through my photos and build my history retroactively. Absolutely. So if you're a fan and you're interested in building the digital scrapbook of your shows, you certainly can download the app. It's available on both the App Store and Google Play. And what you do is, you know, you need to create an account, and when you sign up, it'll prompt you to sync your photos. And when you do that, what it does is goes through the photos on your phone and only looks at the metadata on your photo. So we look and say, were you, you know, here at this specific place at this specific time? We'll match that to events in our database, and if we find a match, then it will create a check-in, and it will add that event to your collection of shows. So it can go back as far as your photos on your phone, and it'll go back as far as events we have in the system. So here's another question. So to be clear, your use of the word loyalty is more about fan loyalty than actual element of a loyalty program. Artists handle the rewards. That's correct. So, you know, we don't have functionality built in to the platform at this time in terms of handling the rewards. Artists do that on their own accounts. So, you know, it's certainly something we would consider, you know, building out that functionality. You know, we continue to look for feedback from artists and the community and how they would want us to do that. But it's really about, at this stage, building the connection between artists and fans. And I think it's also important to differentiate, you know, the artists that we've been working with at this stage, right? So when the platform was initially envisioned, it was building out these loyalty programs for established artists. So whereas the artists we've been working with are emerging independent artists, and what they really need is help growing their audience. So they don't have an established fan base yet, right? So a lot of the functionality that we've been focusing on and features that we've been building out have been around growing the audience. So I think a primary function of that is, you know, how do we reward fans and help artists not only know who their fans are, but grow and build an audience. Okay. All right. I think that's it for questions. So if no one, has any other questions right now, there's my email address right there. Please feel free to reach out to me and ask me questions anytime, and I look forward to meeting you all in the future.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and thank you for all who attended. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. For those of you who are Music Biz members, the recording of this webinar will be posted to musicbiz.org. You just need your password to log in if you want to re-watch any sections of it that you may have missed or want to become more clear on. You can re-watch it, or you can reach out to Jeff at the email address here. Again, thank you for being with us. We look forward to welcoming you back to the Common Ground webinar series again shortly. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great afternoon.